Oh, hey, my name's Jason. I'm an IT professional with absolutely no construction skills, and I bought a house that needs to be completely remodeled. This is going to be painful. Back at the house, shockingly. Today's a cool day. The slabjack people are coming. Well, it's not the company slabjack. It's called, they're called Terra Firma. So they're coming here to fix that area down in Tammy's office that's got a piece of the floor kind of slanting down. But what makes that cool is that once that floor is level, we can do the last tiny bit of framing. Once all the framing's done, the electrician will come in, and he says it's going to take him 3 to 5 days to rewire the house. Once that's done, I can put in the networking with my boy Jake and Jesse, and probably get Peyton involved there somehow. That might be it. Then the insulation can go in. Then the drywall can go in. And once the drywall is done by other people, that's the last thing that I need some other contractor to do. Then everything moves at our pace. We don't have to wait on anybody else. I've been waiting for Terra Firma for like 3 weeks, hoping I could get up on their move-up list, and it never happened. And I couldn't frame that last wall until they were done because they asked me not to. So that's been kind of holding everything up. So this is a good day. Hopefully it goes smoothly. We'll find out. And then this weekend I'm going to get the last 5 windows replaced. I just was waiting on a time where I could get other people here. We need some extra muscle for that. So scaffolding and muscle is what we needed for that. So anyway, let's get to it. Well, we finally got around to focusing our attention on the sagging ceiling. And we got the beam put together and up into the ceiling. That was really entertaining. It doesn't have to be very hot outside to be really hot up in that attic. So we sweat up there for a couple days. We get the beam in, get it where we want it, while the ceiling's jacked up from down below. And we let the beam, well, I should say we let the jacks go. And there was still a sag in the ceiling, or a bump, along the area that, right up in here, along this area where the original beam was resting that we attached to. There was a bump along that area still. But we thought, well, unless the light's hitting it just right, you're probably never going to notice it. So we'll just leave it, and we'll go ahead and start taking out these other headers that were going into the kitchen so that we could have it all open. Well, Dave started going to town on knocking those out, and I had to stop him because I could see the ceiling right up here starting to drop as he hit those. And it turns out that a lot of these joists that were over here were tied into that beam. So we came to the realization that it was just not going to happen to have a completely open concept there. So Tammy was over at the old house working, and I called her over. I said, we got to discuss this. So she came over, and while she was on the way over, Dave and I were talking about it, and we came to the agreement that we had basically 2 options. We could put 2 columns here, which would just look kind of weird, just columns standing there. Or we could do a partial wall, which is what we end up doing. Now, the funny thing about this is when we first discussed clearing out this pantry, I had brought up the idea to Tammy of having a partial wall here, because then you could sit out in the living room here, like about this area, and it would kind of provide some separation between the kitchen and the living room. And then the dining table, which is going to be over by that door, would be the dining area, also give you some kind of, I don't know, line of demarcation, so to speak. So that's what we went with. She didn't like the idea at the time, but now that we were left without a choice, she decided she'd like a wall better than columns. So that's what we're going to do, a 5-foot wall, basically the width of the opening into the kitchen. And I started thinking maybe on this side it just would be a nice picture wall. We can put a couple of can lights up in the ceiling to point at the wall, have maybe a picture wall. And then on the other side of it, I kind of envision like a buffet, some cabinet space, just lowers, no uppers, I think, where you could store dishes that would be handy if you have guests over, or a place to set food if you have several people over and it's just kind of going buffet style. This is the company Terra Firma that's going to work on that floor down there. I'll let you know afterwards if I recommend them or not. There is an issue where, well, let's take a look. The guy was saying that this area of the floor is not connected to this foundation, whereas this area is. What they do is they basically pump it in real slowly. You know, look for any signs of it, you know, stressing the wall as it lifts. So he's going to reach a point, and then we're going to decide what to do. But I already told him that if the end result is, I mean, I read the fine print. They say that, you know, they don't guarantee that it's going to be perfectly level, that they'll go to where they can. If the end result is the slope from that crack is maybe a quarter inch or a half an inch over 4 feet instead of 1.5 inches like it is now, and that's the best they can do, I'm okay with that. That's going to be a lot less noticeable than what it is now when you walk on it. I never heard a shop vac that made a noise like that, man.
It kicks?
Yeah.
So it's a HEPA vac,
Uh-huh.
so it's kicking the filter. It's shaking the filter off.
Wow.
So the filter lasts longer, and then I can also vacuum like mud, and it doesn't stick in my filter and plug my vacuum.
Oh, wow.
I can turn that off too. Just a little button on it.
So after the electrician does his thing, and then I run all my network cables and stuff, then we'll fill in those holes with that foam, you know, that expands and hardens. Is that like the same concept of what this stuff is?
Same concept, different ratios. This also goes in at 130 degrees, where that stuff's like stone cold.
Yeah.
And then this also goes in under 1500 psi. Plus this stuff expands and hardens in 20 seconds to 20 minutes.
Oh.
Well, sets in 20 seconds, cures in 20 minutes, so that stuff can take like 6 to 8 hours to cure.
So not the result I was hoping for today. Turns out the slab is tied into the foundation with rebar. So what that means is if he would have continued to put that foam in there, it would have tried to lift the entire corner of the house. And of course, that's not going to happen. The floor would break apart before that were to happen. The only way to actually raise this corner up would be on these two corners on the outside to get piers in the ground and have the foundation itself jacked up, which would then level this corner out. That's not going to happen. We'll get some of that self-leveling stuff that you can put on the floor. 1.5 inch drop, so it shouldn't be too bad. We'll just level that out, and then we've already had, before this we even knew about this, we had already gotten away from the idea of polished concrete, and we're just going to go with probably some type of 3x3 vinyl tile on the floor. So that's now the only option, because we can't put that self-leveler on there and then have a polished concrete floor that doesn't look really funky. Would I still recommend Terra Firma? Yes, I would, because they've been really cool to me. He gave me the option of he could just walk away even after all the material that he pumped in there, and they would give me a full refund because it wasn't able to be raised up. The other option was that he could fill in the rest of the space down there and stabilize it, and I would get a discount on my bill. And so that's what I went with. And I thought that was pretty cool, the fact that they could do all that work and then just walk away and they'd be willing to give you a full refund. So I would definitely give Terra Firma a call if you're looking for anything like this, any kind of foundation work. They also do the piers on the foundation. the slab jacking and all that kind of stuff. So if you got any need for that, I would definitely give them a call. And I guess that'll probably be the end of this episode. Time to move on to the electrician. That'll be the next episode. We'll see you then.